it's a complicated sequence of events. But what happened was that in 2008, the California Supreme Court, that's the state Supreme Court, found that the state constitution, its guarantees of equal protection and due process and privacy, did not permit discrimination based on sexual orientation when it came to marriage. That was under the state constitution. Voters in November of 2008, they enacted an amendment to the state constitution saying that only marriage between a man and a woman is recognized. That was then challenged in federal court as a violation of the federal constitution's due process and equal protection provisions. A federal district judge in 2010 agreed and said that that measure, known as Proposition 8, was unconstitutional. That was appealed to the 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals, which, as you say, does oversee California and other states in the West. And that court heard oral argument more than a year ago. They delivered their decision today, a 128-page opinion by a vote of 2-1 of the 3 judges on the panel. And it found that Proposition 8, for reasons quite specific to California, is unconstitutional under the United States Constitution.
Right. Now, should I read anything into the panel, which was of 3 judges, split 2-1, 2 of them being, one was nominated by Clinton, and the other being nominated by Jimmy Carter, and the other one being a Republican? Am I supposed to read into that, or is that kind of irrelevant at this stage?
Well, I don't think it's really that significant. I mean, we know that there are divisions among Americans, among lawyers, among judges about how to apply certain broad guarantees of the federal Constitution. I think it's much more important to look at what the ruling itself says than try to guess what's motivating the people who wrote it, because the ruling is right there and you can read it. And I mean, right. I actually haven't had a chance to read all of it. It's under 28 pages, but. Right. Key parts that we have, and we might want to talk about what it says and what that means for when the Supreme Court has a chance to consider this, as we all expect it to do.
Right, so that was going to be my next question, Jess, which is, what are the next steps? First part of that is, does this mean that tomorrow a gay couple in California could go out and get married? I don't think that's the case, but maybe you could address that. And then second, what are the next steps for it to get to the Supreme Court?
Well, the losing side to get to the Supreme Court has to file a petition seeking review, and the Supreme Court will then consider that, in its normal course. It is extremely unlikely the Supreme Court would do that in the current term, meaning that term ends in June. All the argument slots are already filled for this year. There is a whole timetable by which briefs are filed. It's a very orderly, sequential process. So unless the Supreme Court decides to jump in really fast, they won't hear this case until the fall at the earliest and decide until 2013 at the earliest.
Right.
But I think that people should keep in mind, or should know, what this ruling says and what it does not say. This ruling does not say there is a federal constitutional right to same-sex marriage. Instead, it looks at the sequence that took place in California in light of a particular Supreme Court precedent from 1996. What happened in the 1996 case was this. It was from Colorado.
Jess, yep. We're not going to have time to go into all the details around the case. Let me ask the very simple question. If I am part of a gay couple in California, does this mean that I can get married anytime soon?
Tomorrow? No. I don't know about the longer term. Probably not.
I see. So what will I have to wait for?
Well, often these rulings are stayed until they get, certainly it will be stayed until the losers in the case, where the proponents of Prop 8 file their motions or appeals. So it will be stayed until we know what the next step is. So I don't think we will really see a resumption of gay marriages in California until the United States Supreme Court goes one way or the other.